think about your social media feed for a second. It's just packed with stuff, right? Photos, music, little video clips, articles. We share it, we like it, sometimes we even use it ourselves. But have you ever stopped to think about who actually owns all that content? Well, behind every single meme and every song is this big question of ownership. And you know what? Understanding it is more important than ever. So let's get into it. I mean, this is a classic, right? It's a question that gets pretty much everyone. You're working on a project, you find the perfect photo online, or maybe a great song for video you're making, and you think, can I just use this? It seems so simple, but that one little question throws open the entire world of copyright law. And that's exactly what we're going to break down today. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to cover what copyright actually is, then we'll look at its limits. After that, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of how to register, talk about owning and transferring rights, and finally, we'll see how copyright is governed right here in India. All right, first things first. What is copyright? Let's get into understanding your digital rights. So at its heart, copyright is basically a legal protection for creators. The best way to think about it is like a bundle of exclusive rights. So let's say you create something, right? It could be anything, a blog post, a piece of music you wrote, a photo you took, even a piece of software. Well, copyright is what gives you, the creator, the power to control how that work gets published, who can distribute it, and how other people get to use it. But here's the absolute #1 rule, and this is a big one. For something to actually get copyright protection, it has to exist in some kind of physical or, tangible form. An amazing idea for a novel that's just floating around in your head? Nope, that's not copyrighted. But the moment you write it down, type it into a document, record it on your phone, or even just scribble it on a napkin, bam! The second it's fixed in a tangible form, it's eligible for protection. All right, so now that we know what copyright protects, let's talk about its limits. Because this is where things can get a little tricky. What isn't protected? This is probably the most important distinction in all of copyright law. Copyright protects the expression of an idea, not the idea itself. Okay, so look at this example. The general idea of a story about a wizard school. You can't copyright that. It's too broad. Anyone is free to come up with their own story about a wizard school. But the specific book series, with its unique characters, its plot twists, the dialogue, all of those specific details, that is the expression. And that is what is protected by copyright. It's a game-changing difference. And this idea versus expression rule applies across the board. So what else is off the table for copyright? Well, you've got your basic ideas, concepts, and principles. Can't copyright those. Same goes for procedures and methods, like a recipe or a process. Titles and names are also generally not protected by copyright, nor are short slogans or phrases. And this is a big one, factual information. You can't copyright a fact. And finally, things like certificates are out too. Mostly because they just don't have that creative spark. Okay, let's clear up one of the biggest myths about the internet right now. Just because you find something online does not mean it's free for you to use. It is not public domain. All that content you see, photos, songs, videos, it's all copyright protected, just like a physical book or a painting. Taking someone else's work from the internet and using it without getting their permission, yep, that's copyright infringement. Simple as that. All right, so protection is automatic. We've got that down. But what if you want to make it, official? Let's talk about how to register your copyright. Now, this is super important to remember. The very second you create something, it's automatically protected by copyright. You don't technically have to do anything else. But, and this is a big but, registering it is an incredibly smart move. Why? Because that registration certificate acts as official legal proof that you are the owner. In legal speak, it's prima facie evidence. Basically, if you ever end up in court, that piece of paper is your golden ticket. It's taken as fact unless someone can prove otherwise, and that is a huge, huge advantage. So what does the process actually look like? It's pretty straightforward. First, you file an application with the Copyright Office. Then you pay the fee. And just a heads up, that fee is non-reimbursable. After that, there's a 30-day waiting period. This is so anyone who has an objection can come forward. If the coast is clear after 30 days, an examiner looks over your application for any issues. If everything is in order, boom, your work is officially registered. And how much does this all cost? Well, here in India, the fees are actually pretty reasonable. For most creative works, like literary, artistic, or musical pieces, it's 500 rupees for each work. If you've got a sound recording, that'll be 2,000 rupees. And for a full-on film, it's 5,000. When you think about the legal power it gives you, it's a pretty small price to pay. Okay, so now you own the copyright. Awesome. But for how long? And can you do stuff with it? Let's dive into owning and transferring these rights. For most types of work, the rule is pretty easy to remember. The copyright lasts for the entire life of the creator, plus another 60 years after they pass away. That's a long time. After that 60-year period is up, the work then enters what's called the public domain. And that means it's free for anyone to use in any way they want. You hear the word publish a lot, so what does it actually mean in copyright terms? It's simple, really. It just means making your work available to the public. That could be by printing copies of it or by communicating it to people, like posting it online. But here's a really cool and important detail. You can register both published and unpublished works. Your secret manuscript that no one's seen yet, you can still register the copyright for that. Now, you might be thinking, why on earth would a creator give away their rights? Well, it usually comes down to practical reasons. Most creators don't have the money or the connections to get their work out to a massive audience. That's where publishers come in. So an author might transfer their rights to a publisher. In exchange, they get money, maybe a lump sum or royalties over time, and the publisher handles the heavy lifting of getting the work out there to everyone. And this leads us to maybe the single most important piece of advice for any creator out there. And I'm just going to read this directly. It is strongly advised that authors must apply their mind while signing the copyright agreement. Seriously, before you put your signature on anything that transfers your rights, you have to read it, understand it, and think about it. These contracts are no joke. They decide the future of your work, so please be careful. So who's in charge of all this? Last up, let's take a look at the legal framework for copyright in India. The big player here is the Copyright Board, and these guys have some serious power. They're the ones who step in to settle arguments about who owns what. They can also grant something called compulsory licenses, which basically forces a creator to let someone use their work in specific situations. They can even make decisions about publishing works that haven't been released yet. And maybe most importantly for creators, they have the power to decide what the royalty rates should be. And just to give you an idea of how much this is happening, check out this number, almost 22,000. That's how many copyright applications were filed in India in just 1 year, from 2019 to 2020. What does that tell us? It shows that more and more creators are realizing how important it is to formally protect their work. That's a pretty powerful trend. Okay, so we've been through a lot. If you're going to take away just a few key things, make it these 4. Number 1, protection is automatic. The second you make it, it's yours. Number 2, copyright protects the expression, not the idea. Super important distinction. Number 3, registration isn't required, but wow, it is powerful legal proof if you ever need it. And number 4, know your rights before you sign them away. Read that contract. So we've gone from the very basics all the way to legal boards and contracts. Now I want you to think about how you use the internet every day. The stuff you create, the stuff you share. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Now that you know all this, how is it going to change the way you create and share your own work online? That's it for this explainer. We hope we helped you grasp this complex topic fast. Hey, if this helped clear things up, do us a favor and hit that like button. And of course, subscribe for more explainers just like this one. Oh, and drop a comment below. Let us know what tricky subject you want us to break down next. We'll see you in the next one.